Hello folks, it's my hope that this video finds you well and that you are in good spirits. Welcome to the Spot On. Folks, if you are new on this platform, here we provide a comprehensive analysis, objective and critical analysis on political development, political happening. We try and give it a type of analysis, a type of unique analysis that you'll only find on this particular channel. So, folks, yesterday something very interesting did happen in the political scene. The Biden administration did send a senator from the state of Delaware to come and broker a long-lasting deal between the government and the opposition. And the senator in this particular case is Chris Cohn. Something that you need to know about this particular senator is that one, he's coming from the state of Delaware. Folks, Delaware is the home state of the current US president. Number two, this particular senator is behind the famous 2018 handshake. He ensured that there was a handshake between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga way back in 2018. And also, another thing maybe that you need to know is that Senator Chris Cohn, actually, they were classmates with the former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, and they did graduate in the same year. And I think that's why the Biden administration or the US president did send him to come and try and broker that particular deal between the opposition and the government. And actually, in one of his to-do list was to persuade the opposition to call off their demonstration. And actually, the first demonstration that they were supposed to call off was today's demonstration. But however, that was not able to happen. So I want us to look into, or in this video, I'll tell you the reasons as to why Raila Odinga refused to call off demonstrations. So, folks, before we do that, before we look into that particular aspect, before I forget, if you are new on this particular platform, if you are new on this particular channel, and you have not subscribed to this channel, kindly, folks, can you just take 2 seconds of your time and, subscribe to this particular platform? Because that subscription is very vital. It helps the channel to grow. And to those of you who have already subscribed, folks, I can't stop thanking you for your continued support. If it were not for you, we could not be where we are today. And one more thing, remember to give this video a thumbs up, because when you do that, it's going to reach out to as many people as possible. So, folks, prior to this, to yesterday's meeting, there are two critical things that did happen prior to that particular meeting. One, the opposition held a press and they accused the so-called international friends of keeping quiet on the electoral justices, or what the opposition were complaining about, or they were accusing the government about. Remember, they held a presser on Tuesday and made those particular accusations. That's number one. The second thing that happened before yesterday's meeting was that the government, they asked the Kenya Kwanza administration to give the opposition room, to provide them with security to protest and demonstrate. Because the argument was that those people who are demonstrating, or those people who are protesting, they are doing that within the confine of the law, and that the Constitution of Kenya provides for that particular, demonstration. So the work of the government was to ensure that these people are protected. Now, why did Raila Odinga refuse, to call off a demonstration? So, folks, in that particular meeting, it is now emerging that the opposition, they had their irreducible minimums, and one of the things that the opposition told the U.S. senator, or the senator from Delaware State, one was that the government was supposed, or they were supposed to reduce the cost of living. That was, a must, and they say that if that one doesn't happen, then they are not going to, call off this particular protest. The second thing that they talked about was the opening of the servers. They claim that this particular issue of electoral injustice, it's been happening in each and every election cycle. So the argument was that they wanted the government to open the server, so that at least all of them, they can witness what is in the server. Because the argument was that they had hired a private hacker and did what they call ethical hacking, went into the IBC servers, and came up with the results that they are claiming that they won the election. So they say that without that, then they are not going to call off the protest. The third reason that the opposition gave out was the issue of the composition of the IEBC. The argument was that one player cannot decide who becomes the referee. All the players must be brought on board to decide the person who is going to officiate, a given match. And then the fourth reason, folks, was that they complained of, the government buying, the opposition members of parliament. And the argument was that if the government wanted these particular members of parliament to be in their party, these people, they were supposed to resign, then they seek a fresh mandate from the people. If they win on the government ticket, then well and good. But then the issue of poaching members of the opposition, that's something that they were not comfortable with. But then another thing, folks, before that particular meeting, before the US senator met at the opposition, because remember that at first they went to Kibra to meet these particular people, the religious community, and those people who were affected by the Monday demos. Because remember that I'm being told that the church was burnt down, the mosque was burnt down. So I think they went there to to condole with those people, maybe to give them support. So, folks, remember that before the US delegation met the opposition to broker that deal, they first met the deputy president. So maybe you are asking yourself, why did he meet the deputy president? Well, one, in his capacity in that particular position is the deputy president. And because the president was outside the country, that's one of the reasons as to why, he first met the deputy president. But then, folks, these people are aware that the president was supposed to come back today. So they had the opportunity to wait, for today, and then they meet the president himself, because he's now the head of state and the head of government. And then they failed to do that. They went ahead and met the deputy president. So they have said one of the reasons is in the acting capacity. And because it's government to government, they had to do that. But now the main reason as to why these people met the deputy president, if you ask me, it's because they have got intelligence that the people who are blocking, the people who are hindering any kind of meaningful engagement between the opposition and the government are what we call the so-called hardliners. And in government, in Ruto's camp, the so-called hardliners are being led by the deputy president himself. So the U.S. senator wanted to find out, what was the bone of contention between the deputy president and the opposition. Why were they not providing room for that particular engagement? Then another thing you need to understand is that, or you need to understand the deputy president. The reason as to why they don't want or they're blocking any kind of meaningful engagement. Because the fear that he has is that what happened to William Ruto in 2018 after the famous 2018 handshake was most likely going to befall him. Because the thing is that most likely the president was going to, sideline him when it comes to making of key decisions within the government. Because as they say that they know the modus operandi of how the opposition leader operates. They accuse him that when he gets into government, what they do is that they ensure that that particular government doesn't work, doesn't function, it fails to deliver. So, besides being sidelined by his boss, he fears that the government maybe might not deliver. That's why they're coming up with that hard stance of not ensuring that there is meaningful engagement between those two particular sides. Folks, maybe you are wondering why is it that each and every time there is a protracted conflict between the opposition and the government, the US government comes in swiftly, to intervene in such kind of situation. You're asking yourself, why must they intervene from time to time? Because in yesterday's meeting, you saw the US senator with his delegation together with the ambassador, the US ambassador to Kenya. All of them, they were in this particular meeting. So maybe you're asking yourself, why is it that the US, they must come in each and every time? So one, because of the vast interest. These people, they have got a lot of interest in this country. Remember that their soldiers are here, they're training here. Remember that the UN is here. We host the UN in the sub-Saharan Africa. And majorly they're the people who are funding this such kind of international organization, and so they cannot sit pretty, back somewhere and see things getting south. That's why they must intervene from time to time. Then the second reason is that economically, Kenya is an economic hub and it's a gateway to most of the East African countries, if not most of the countries in Africa. So they get into all these countries mostly from Kenya. That's why you saw even during the reign of President Barack Obama. I think to some extent the reign of President Joe Biden through the AGOA. Actually, Kenya was the first country to sign into that AGOA agreement. So, folks, I don't know what you think of this video. Do you want a handshake? Do you want the opposition and the government to have a sit down and have a discussion of what is ailing this country? Or do you want the demonstrations to continue until the government succumbs to pressure? Kindly let me know of your thoughts. Let me know of your opinion through the comment section. And once again, if you have watched the video from the beginning up to this particular point, and you have not, subscribed to the channel, kindly can you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. On your screen there, you're seeing that particular button. Just press on it, and you will already have subscribed to the channel. Then another thing is that, folks, I appreciate your time so much, because watching this video all the way from the beginning up to this particular point, it means a lot of sacrifice and all that. So I don't take your time for granted. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, let us meet in the next video. Otherwise, thank you so much.